Hello, today I'm just doing a quick video. There's going to be no editing, anything like that. I am by no means a professional YouTuber. This is just a quick little, kind of chat really. And it's to address something I keep seeing over and over again in my search for a new camera. This is my D70-100. I've been using this for years and years and years. I am happy with it in terms of its layout and the feel of it and how it works for me. All I want is something that does the same job, that isn't a downgrade, which is a bit smaller and lighter, and better low light performance and better autofocusing would be a bonus. But I am leaning towards the more retro style cameras. I'm a bit of a sucker for that kind of old school DSLR and rangefinder style. So there are a couple of cameras I've obviously been looking at. Which gets me to the point. This is the ZFC. This is a Fuji XT50. I do like them both. I haven't made a decision yet, and they are both definitely on that shortlist for different reasons. However, I keep seeing YouTubers, people who claim to have years and years and years of experience as photographers, who are, more of an expert than myself. Yet they can't seem to get their head around something that seems obvious to me. So I am actually making this video kind of as a response and a little bit of a challenge, but also I am more than open to being told I'm just missing the point because I don't know what it is. So it's all about this versus this. Now, I don't know whether people who are buying these cameras will have had previous mirrorless cameras. I don't think the people who buy these will have had many previous mirrorless cameras because they're not exactly top-end pro cameras. If you were wanting something more professional, you'd be looking at maybe the XT5 over the 50, and you would be looking at the ZF over the ZFC. Personally, whilst I would love either of those cameras, I think that neither of these are a downgrade from this. I know this was pretty highly spec'd at the time, a D70-100, but even these kind of smaller compact versions, which are lacking a few features, are still going to outperform this for most situations. So people coming from an older DSLR, whether it's a 70-100 or a 53, that type of thing, will maybe be looking at something like these. Now, I've already said this once, but I will get to the point now. The issue that many YouTubers keep claiming is an issue is the fact that this camera has a mode selector switch, similar to what a lot of us will be used to on a camera like this. And they all seem to prefer this method over here. Now, I'm not saying this is bad, because I'm still considering buying one of these. But the scenario that I've seen described by at least 2 or 3 reviews now is that you are walking around doing a bit of street stuff, you are in aperture priority over here, and you just see something you want to photograph which is moving a little bit quick for the shutter speed that the camera has pre-selected. So you jump over here and you move this to 400. It doesn't have a 400. Okay, 500. I know you can press a button and do in between steps or something, I believe. Anyway, let's just say you'd go over here and go to 500, but then it doesn't do anything. And these, you know, these professional, experienced photographers get really confused by this, and then they don't understand why that doesn't suddenly override the fact you're in aperture, and they complain that you then have to move it into shutter for this to take effect. Have they not used one of these before? Why is this so confusing to them? I'm not a professional, and that I'm watching these reviews thinking, what are you talking about? Because they keep comparing it to this, where you would just move the shutter dial to auto. Is that what they're saying? Yeah, because you haven't got the PASM mode selector. So they're claiming to jump from aperture priority to shutter priority and to select a faster shutter speed is quicker and involves less steps on this camera than it does on this camera. And, you know, people looking at these two may not have this same thought. I don't know. But I feel like people are being very negative against this camera in favour of one of these. Which is fair enough if you're going to make justified points. But I don't think this point's really justified. And I'm trying to keep this video short, but basically what my thought is, if you were using one of these and you are in aperture mode and you're walking around doing little photos down streets, you know, candid stuff, little alleyways, and you see a cat walking along the top of a wall and you think, oh, that's a lovely shot, I'm going to wait for this cat to get a little bit closer and I'm going to grab a shot of this cat. But you know your shutter speed's not going to be fast enough. In that scenario, people are imagining going over here, adjusting this, going over here, adjusting this, 2 steps. Well, anyone that's used one of these who is shooting in aperture mode, who knows from their experience that they may come across situations where they want a faster shutter speed. Now, in general, you're not going to want to switch to a slower speed. Why would that be the case? Think of one scenario where that is the case. It's not going to happen. If you wanted a lower shutter speed, where you were photographing a dancer or waves on a beach and you wanted to capture movement, chances are you're already going to be in that mode anyway, because you know what your subject is. Or if you wanted seriously low shutter speeds, doing long exposures, that type of thing, you're going to be in manual. So if you are, as these YouTubers describe, walking around in aperture mode, doing day-to-day candid street photography, and you suddenly see something and you need faster shutter speed, why are you leaving your camera set to 60 or whatever? With this camera, why would you be walking around in aperture mode with this dial set to 60? Because whilst it's in aperture mode, this dial does nothing. Same on this camera. If I set my shutter speed to 400, which is a pretty good starting point for capturing something moving, if you want it to not have any motion blur, and then you go back over here to aperture, it remembers that you had it on 400. So, you know, are you following? Am I being stupid? This is so simple to me that I'm actually struggling with what to say, because I think these reviewers are either really stupid or they understand this. They naturally understand this, but they are avoiding it and they won't admit it, and they are imagining They are trying to put it across as a problem that doesn't exist, just to try and push the reviews to favour this camera. Which I don't think is necessary, because I think this one's got a lot going for it that this one hasn't, and perhaps vice versa. But for me, coming from one of these and wanting to move to a camera which is more this style, this is a massive plus point, because you've got the style, you've got the controls, but your workflow will feel very familiar coming from this. You can leave this set somewhere useful based on the scenarios that you may or may not find yourself in, and you can quickly switch and instantly be in shutter priority on a preset. There is none of this extra step that people are describing. It doesn't exist. Yeah, that's all I have to say, really. So they're kind of describing, oh look, a dog, shutter, oh no, I have to quickly, oh the dog's gone. No, because you leave your shutter priority mode in a fast speed. That's pretty obvious. If that's not what you will need out of shutter priority, you will know that in advance and you will already be shooting something different. I know I'm repeating myself, but this situation that I keep on seeing coming up in reviews where you're in this mode, you need a faster shutter speed, you need to do that, you need to go over here, I think it's being massively exaggerated to the point where it's even just made up. So yeah, people need to stop it.